You know what I like about Neiman? Like you say, he doesn't like public speaking, but when he starts talking about counseling, Kevin Neiman's a great counselor.
It's mine. I like it. My scientific.
I've heard.
Call it.
Well, he gets up there and starts talking to not having a foundation and the lie that we fed ourselves from childhood, but when it shows up and having to back. And when he says stuff, he gets into.
We're on.
I know what I'm talking about, so this is the way it is. And he communicated very well.
That's cool.
And he had, I think every executive probably left with something more for them about peeling back why am I triggered than anything else.
I love talking to Kevin. We're on too, so we always kind of chit chat Sean before we go. So many of the, and maybe it sucks, I don't know, but so many of the podcasts are like really structured. You know, they're and that doesn't flow as well with us. We kind of like to start, kicking it off and talking a little bit versus having, like music or whatever. And so, not that it's right or wrong, but
like cigars that you don't smoke. We
yeah.
I will smoke. I just didn't know you weren't supposed to inhale them.
See, that's why you don't like them.
That's really been the problem. Yes.
No, you don't completely inhale cigar smoke.
We're about 2 weeks out, and so the humidors are downstairs. I got all the nameplates made. Actually, Hearn's just got made today, and yours got made today. The guy made a few of them, so it's just a place to be able to hang out, so you don't have to drive all the way downtown. Also, a good place for us to meet with people that like guys that I don't want to meet it for coffee. I don't do that. Like, I don't meet at Starbucks for coffee. I would rather, if a guy smokes cigars, we'll meet him up here and we can talk and dig in. Or it can just be completely social or whatever with TVs. But
the things you and I talk about, we met at the Collab, like right when Bryan and I got reintroduced, and he got as authentic as I want to get, and the 20 people around us just needed to suffer because we were talking about all the stuff people don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
So it's a place for that. But don't inhale cigars.
yeah, maybe just hold it in your mouth and then spit it out.
We could title this episode that "Don't Inhale."
Yeah,
that could be
Great.
don't inhale. Just
that could be our.
Well, hey, do you know what the actual problem with that is? Is you stay stuck in it because you figure if you're the one coughing, but you don't know the process of smoking a cigar, just maybe cigarettes, you feel like you're like somehow weaker than the rest of the guys.
That's what I thought.
I know. And no, you're just doing it wrong. Everybody who
that's
inhaled
great.
a cigar, unless they have major problems, would hack their lungs up.
or throw up.
Yeah,
Nick
or
threw up.
Nick threw up. We had
What,
somebody
like-
smoking cigars like this is great, and he kept smoking it, and he got up, threw up, and I'm like, you're not supposed to inhale it.
My contractor, one of the toughest guys that
In the
you could
world.
see. When you see him visually, you're like, he looks like the guy off one of those shows with the motorcycles. What's that thing called? The thing that Kellen used to watch. You said it a couple weeks ago. You got sick of watching it though because they got so aggressive.
Oh, Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah,
No,
that's
Sons of
what
Anarchy.
Nick looks like.
Breaking Bad is
I didn't get
about
sick of
drugs.
watching it. It just wasn't healthy for my mind.
Yeah, it made you aggressive.
It made me. It makes you aggressive.
So
Fight everybody.
More
We want to,
aggressive. He's already aggressive. Makes him more aggressive.
we'll turn into this a
There's
little
things that
bit.
some of us just don't need.
We got some reports back in the last couple of days, and we will, Thad. We will.
Okay.
We got to make announcements first. You've been to a church before? So they announcement screens.
You don't introduce anybody, so I always tell you to intro the guests.
Hey,
Thank you. Thank you.
And Bryan doesn't
Thank
ever
you.
do announcements, so this is new.
This is new. All of this is
We don't
new.
always
This-
have announcements.
This is very new.
We don't always have
You know,
announcements.
we always do this.
We don't ever have
no,
announcements.
no, never.
26
We're
episodes,
never.
never had an announcement.
We have. Announcement number one: Thad's wearing athletic pants that are absolutely tighter than the ones y'all make fun of me for, so that's fine. Announcement number two.
His are not jeans, to be clear, and he didn't wear those to a prison. Like, I keep making fun of you because you wore that,
but
in
he went
jeans to a
tan,
prison.
though. He went tan,
Hey,
which is almost gray.
Brian's jeans are so manly that we were having a cigar last night, and one of the girls walked over and goes, "Well, they're tight, they're skinny jeans." And she grabs, she goes, "Are those girls' jeans though? Because they're stretchy."
If you've never worn stretchy jeans before, you should, and once you do,
Stretchy
you'll
jeans
never
are the
You'll
wear
never
another
go back.
pair ever.
Yeah.
Know the truth.
I have
fine.
never have I ever had a woman approach me and be like, "Are those women's?"
Women's jeans, me neither.
They'll flirt any way possible, dude, and you just got to let it happen. Announcement number two.
We could do a series on
We
mindset
were-
after that comment.
We were notified that I think we had ranked, Tiffany might be able to see the picture, I can't remember, 20 amongst all podcasts, and so we
Christian
got that report
podcasts, yeah.
yesterday
Really?
in our category.
We were in front of
Yeah.
like Stephen Furtick and Joyce Meyer, and I was like, this is wild. Like, they have way more resources
Wow.
than we do.
Thad's like, podcasting's broken.
This is crazy.
That is crazy.
Well, I sent a
Dang,
text.
oh, now I'm getting nervous.
I sent a text to Furtick
Hey.
about it, and it was a landline, so I didn't get a response. But still, he got the text eventually. Somebody will get it.
We'll DM him.
Yeah, we should DM him. He needs to see about it. But so we got that. But I wanted to kind of move into. I just wanted people to know that we're happy about it, because when we started this, we had mentioned we'd be ecstatic if 2 or 3 people took a listen and then maybe shared it with their grandma or something like that. So
Well, and because of it, so Sean, the conversations we have, so Sean and I get a lunch every once in a while, and it'll backtrack the things that we can't use names or say, but through what God's doing, somebody will find Christ. And so through a couple of the episodes, somebody said, I've had some questions, started listening to this, went to some of the resources, and I believe. Like I've
we've
been
got a guy
wrestling
in
with it.
Journey
Yeah.
because of it.
So good.
Clayton.
Because of this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
he
that's
had-
cool.
His aunt, who her husband is actually in Journey, had shared one of them with him. It's Josh, his step nephew, whatever you call that now. And so we've had a lot of interesting stories come from it, not just from Thad's pants, but also from actual real things like that.
Is this trying to just get the attention off of you?
Hey,
It's really trying to like say like Brian's wearing 45 pockets and has 0 things in them.
It's not the pockets. It's not the pockets. It's the fact that his shoes are shinier than the top of my head.
hey, bought this outfit for
Wax
today.
up. Wax up, baby.
Just for today. So, to introduce our guest so that Thad can settle down, which I love making this introduction, is one of my very good friends, Sean Kouplen. But
You told me best.
oh,
That's what you've told
He
me.
says
You've
that to
told-
everybody that sits in
But
that
he's
seat.
told me that
Yeah.
a lot of times.
hey, I only have a couple of really, really close friends. And when people, we're going to talk about this a little bit today, guys. Everybody has some friends, and so many people overuse the phrase about how good their friends are, how close they are. I measure friendship now based upon the level of intimacy that you can have, and also the level of like truth that you feel comfortable sharing, right?
Yeah.
You don't always share your worst stuff with whoever, but they're still your friend, right? So only a few people alive,
Safe people.
5 are safe to where they just know every detail. Sean is one of those people, and so that's why I say I'm very ecstatic to have him here and talk about we're going to focus on him today and the things he has going on. But so many of the things we're going to talk about with Sean, this will line up with you too, Kellen, will intertwine with our life. There will be ropes and ties there where we've connected and discussed and went through things together. I definitely see Sean as a mentor, as a brother, more like an uncle because of the age difference, of course. But
I'm not that old,
Oh,
everybody.
hey, just flaming
Yeah.
in the
Not the
intro.
gray hair.
He's really
is,
not getting over this gene thing, is what I'm
Well,
thinking.
honestly, though,
mad.
Sean is got more accolades than we can really name. I'll focus on a couple of the ones. A lot of people might know Sean as the CEO of a bank. We know Sean as a dad, a husband, basically the creator, and he'll share more about his program and ministry called 94X, which is a faith in the workplace initiative, as well as a speaker, multiple books. But I think for me, aside your being a husband ministry and being a dad ministry, your ability to just take in whoever for relationship, to me, is something that I think is one of the most special things about you besides those other 2 things. Kellen, don't you think? I don't know anyone that does that more, but also better than Sean.
No, I think it's that. And then if I give you one compliment, it would be, through the resume, right? You have like 18 pages on Sean, and people don't know the beginning, which is something I think we're going to talk about. You're the same person with everybody. And that's incredibly hard to find.
Yeah.
Also, you got to shut this man down when he's working out. Like, he jumped back in and started lifting weights. When we got back, he and I did a trip. I'm like, bro, because he has this thing in his brain, and I have it too. And I'm like, you can't go Hulk smash day one and turn that, it hurts off.
Because I was with you.
I know.
I felt so small and
Same,
so
every time.
Yes.
Every time.
But I will say this, like, there's some gimmicky stuff. People wear masks. We've done series on a lot of this stuff that keeps people in bondage. you are exactly who you present, and you're a safe person, and you're an honest person, and you have a lot of wisdom to give, but you're not prideful about it.
We'll learn here today. I have many reasons to not be prideful. We'll learn that as we go. So thank you, guys.
Yeah, I would say that Sean he's an awesome, like, you want to be in the room with Sean because of the way Sean makes you feel. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And that's like in a room of 100, that's in a room of us 5, that's in a room of wherever. You make people feel like they can conquer things. And that's awesome. Like that's A+ for me. So yeah.
Well, it's the key.
Yeah.
It's the key when you talk about take the spiritual piece out of it, because we'll get back into that in a minute. Just being a person that people want to be around, have friendships with, do life with, work for, any of those things, I would put how you make them feel is up there so high.
Yeah.
I fail at that all the time, just moving so fast and so aggressive. Sean, you've learned to do that so much better at being such a high capacity person. You've still figured out how to because you've got to be more stressed out than you seem. You've got to be more on edge sometimes than what you seem, just by being human, and somehow you make that look easier than it is. I always want to be like, and break stuff and cut you in the heart if I'm mad and stuff. So thank you for being that person, because a lot of us are looking at that when maybe you didn't even know. So I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. This is highly uncomfortable. So if we could maybe move on, that'd be great. That'd be great.
So you've served in many capacities. I didn't mention that you worked as a servant, as the former Secretary of Commerce to the governor, which I think was a really cool experience for you, but also it had to be one that made your day much harder than what you ever thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that, because I asked a lot of the listeners kind of for questions today, and there were actually a few people that wanted to know what that looked like for you already being so busy when you did it. And I thought, we don't talk about that very much. You don't really bring it up that much anymore. So it is kind of interesting, because you were still working in areas to where you felt like the Lord was pushing on you and calling on you to do other things while you were still trying to serve in that role. What did that look like for you? I know you get up like 10 minutes after you go to bed, so at like 5 o'clock. What happens after that?
Well, so what happens after that is, let's start with that, because I do think the only way I kind of got through that time frame was mornings. And there's this book called The 5 a.m. Club, and it basically talks about the magic of mornings, and if you have a structure and a focus to your mornings. I spent a lot of time in prayer, but I also spent a lot of time prioritizing the day, try to work out, do work out every morning, and that kind of kept me sane. The balancing of the jobs, which a lot of people ask me about too, is it all boils down to the fact that at both the Commerce Department in Oklahoma City and at the bank, I had really good people. So what would happen is you would just kind of flex between. There wasn't I tried to come up with a structure where, okay, these days I'll work on Commerce, these days I'll work on the bank. That's just not how life works.
Right.
It all jumbled together, and urgent things would happen on my bank day that I needed to focus on Commerce and vice versa. And so, the little bit of background, I didn't ever really have I've never really had any kind of political desire. It's just not been something, for some reason, to be real honest with you, it can kind of be a little bit repelling. I truly believe in my heart that politics and government is so important, but I also believe that Satan can use that to divide us. And I'm very kind of repelled by that. I just don't like that. I would rather attract people in so that I can show them Jesus. But I kind of caught this vision of a guy that you all just had on this podcast, Mr. Stitt. And I just believe that maybe it was possible that a business person could lead government like a business, and that, maybe we could turn around this state that had been struggling for so long. And I think in many ways, he really has. I had about 3 years, little under 3 years to contribute to that. It was fun. I would say that the difference, for those of you that are business people, to me, the difference between business and government isn't so much the bureaucracy. It is the fact that so many people have different motives. In your companies, all of us are kind of going in the same direction. We all kind of go where we want to go. In our ministries, we're all going in the same direction. We all know the direction that we want to head. In government, this person's trying to make this person look bad, and you just happen to be collateral damage in the middle.
Right.
It doesn't have anything to do with you. Or, this legislation, which is a great idea, which would be a game changer for the state of Oklahoma, doesn't get passed because this person doesn't want somebody to get the credit for it. There's so many ulterior motives that it just makes it hard. I really respect what Kevin has done, what the governor has done, pushing forward despite daily shots that he takes. And so last thing I would say, the job was fun. The job of Secretary of Commerce is one of the best in government because it's a marketing job. It's a business development job. It's all the things that we do in our day-to-day. It's strategy. It's how do you compare with other states. I mean, rather than competing with another insurance agency, you're competing with another state, and so you're looking at their pros and cons. That part of it was pretty awesome. It was pretty easy to lead folks over there because there had been a huge leadership gap.
Right.
Most of my agencies, there were 36 agencies that I oversaw. Most of them had never even met their cabinet secretary, and some had worked there for 20 and 25 years.
Oh, wow. That's wild.
So you're just kind of like, well, what's been going on here? And I think maybe the roles had been maybe a little bit more of a figurehead role in the past. And so listening to them, to Thad's point, I love people. I truly value everybody. I don't view that any of us, including myself, are any better than anybody else. And so when I could give those people a voice, it was awesome. I mean, train them up on a little bit of leadership stuff. It was awesome. Bring traction in, bring a business, type of structure into how they do their business. It was awesome, and people appreciate it. They appreciate that to this day.
So I guess it's safe to say you are not announcing today that you're going to run for governor.
I am not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So I do
have to change my notes then.
Yeah, no,
you got to
probably
pitch.
never. Probably never.
I do think if anybody was interested in your stint in commerce, was Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Tesla was going to move, and you got to pitch that whole deal. How was that?
Yeah, so the story behind that, and very briefly, was, it's COVID. We're in the middle of COVID. Nothing's happening. Nobody's moving. Nobody's even going outside. And so clearly nobody's moving states or expanding. So the business development side of commerce had come to a screeching halt, and all we were really doing was focusing on programs to help businesses stay alive. Well, in the midst of all this, somebody texted me, and I don't even remember who it was. It was a buddy of mine, but I can't remember who it was, texted me and said, hey, Elon Musk just tweeted that they are looking for a central United States gigafactory. And we ought to get in on that deal. So I go pull it up, and sure enough, he did. And so I replied back to him and basically, say, hey, please consider Oklahoma. The governor and I would love to visit with you. We're still open for business, blah, blah, blah. But then I thought, man, he gets who knows how many tweets the guy gets. And so I'm like, this isn't going to mean anything to him. So I went on all my Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter was all I was on at the time, and just said, hey, everybody, would you please send Elon, a tweet saying that he should look at Oklahoma? Well, I didn't realize this, but he told us that 73,000 people sent the tweet.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Gosh.
This thing gets spread all over, shared all over the state, and everybody tweets Elon, and that's kind of what got us in the game. Okay, so we got some back channel. There's a Tulsa Community Foundation. I got some buddies over there, and they had some people that were executives in Tesla, and so we're kind of back channeling in, and we got a guy to come. It was there. He's still a good friend of mine. His name is Mike. He lives in Kansas City now, but he was the head of government relations for Tesla. So he came. They sent him out. He was kind of low man on the totem pole. He came to Tulsa and was like, man, this place is pretty fantastic. I mean, he was just very surprised by what he found. And then a higher level person came, and then Elon came. And so in the midst of all this, we're putting together incentive packages, and everybody says, we don't have a shot. There's no way we're going to win it, but we are getting crazy global publicity. I mean, all of a sudden, all over the world, people are reaching out for interviews. Who is Tulsa? Why in the world would they? And they had announced that it was down to 2. It was down to us and Austin. And it had started with like 80 cities. And we had just kind of worked our way down to 2. And we met him twice. The first time, Jim Bridenstine kind of indirectly helped us meet him down at SpaceX. So he was doing a launch, and there was a dinner that he and some astronauts and some other folks came to, and the governor and I just happened to show up at this dinner. And I happened to sit next to Elon. Mm-hmm. Everybody was really jealous because, and this was truly just a blessing because the guy comes, he walks in and he's got just one kind of bodyguard with him. Okay, the guy's African American but looked very similar to Kellen. And they walk into the hallway, and we just had like pizza on a table out there before you walk into this conference room. They grab some pizza, and you can tell he's just kind of uncomfortable, like he doesn't know where to go or what to do. So I'm like, well, I'm snagging him, man. So I run over and I'm like, hey, I said, feel free to come sit down by me. And so he comes and sits down. So for 2 hours we talk, and by talking I really mean I ask questions and he answers the questions, and then we kind of hit it off. And then he said, well, I'm gonna come to Tulsa. So they fly into Tulsa. We meet at the site. He's big on efficiency, so didn't want anybody picking him up, didn't want anybody showing him around, didn't want to stop at the gate to meet. I mean, he's like, we will meet at the table, at the site, we'll pull up and meet right there for X number of minutes, and then they're back out. Meeting went fantastic. Honestly, we thought we landed the deal. We were certain that we landed the deal. And when he went back to California and met with their engineers, they ended up being more comfortable going to Austin for a variety of reasons. More talent there, more engineering, more senior engineering talent, probably a little more comfortable for them, maybe politically at the end of the day. And they chose to go there. But it was very cool. He is like a computer. There is nothing you can ask him that he doesn't know. Nothing. And for 2 hours, I asked the most microscopic detail about every one of his businesses. Never at any point did he not know the answer.
That's impressive.
Pretty amazing.
He is
wild.
Wild.
You can tell just by reading anything that he writes or anything that he verbalizes in interviews. He's very, very different than most people. And what I think is most interesting about Elon, Sean, as you kind of study the guy a little bit, is most robots don't have personalities, and he does.
Yeah, he does.
He's funny, and it's dry. It's a very dry, a matter of fact with like a sarcasm mix. So I kind of like that. I can identify with it, but you don't usually get that from guys like that. Mm-hmm. They're usually pretty black and white. And they look at you during the jokes, and that's it.
It looks like the lights go off in between questions.
He makes the jokes. So, and I love that's such an interesting. You've got so many interesting stories to tell, and but what I really want to get into now, because you've got a program coming up. You've got you're not going to call it a program. The summit is more of what are you guys calling this thing? It's
a pep rally.
A pep rally.
It's a faith and business pep rally.
We need something more aggressive next time.
Yeah. Well, so
it's like Band of Brothers for
don't call Band of Brothers
business
a pep
people.
rally,
Yeah.
please.
That's what I'm saying. I take back the pep rally
It's the
comment.
pregame. It's the pregame.
It's a
It's the
pregame.
real game.
Yeah,
It's a pregame before the launch.
So I can't believe how fast time goes, though. But a couple of years ago, you kind of started. I believe you said you were on an airplane, and I want you to tell us about it a little bit, because people always ask before they even ask what it is, or like, why is it named that? And I'm like, why do you care? Like, I never care why things are named what they're named, but there's actually an answer to this one.
There is.
So I want you to explain it. I know you're on an airplane, I think, and then something came to you. Tell us how you came up with this. I know it's a faith in a workplace thing. A lot of people think it's illegal, but us out here in the marketplace, I think everyone in this room feels some kind of calling to be in the marketplace. I could never be a pastor, I don't think. They'd fire me, dude.
You said
They
you could
would.
figure it out, but
Yeah, they would fire
definitely
you.
not.
They would probably fire me.
They
There's
would.
a certain,
They
certain
would.
group that are similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but we have a place. We have, like you talk about too in Band of Brothers. There's a seat for everyone. At Journey, we talk about that too. We've got teenagers in our group this year, Kellen. We got a couple of these kids that have come. We've got dudes in the midst of infidelity. We've got in the midst of complete reconciliation in their life, like your program. So everyone has a seat. We found ours in the marketplace. So Sean, what does 94X mean, and why are you doing it? You've got plenty of other ministry opportunities. Why this?
Well, so tying into the earlier question, I was wrapping up the commerce role, and I really felt the Lord like turning a page with me. And I didn't think I was supposed to leave the bank, but I just knew He had something different in store. So I'm praying through it, and I feel that it is faith at work, and not faith at work. Now, and let me just say this for all the listeners and watchers: it's not the same. It's not a Christian business deal where we all get together and yeah,
It
and
doesn't
then
have a religious spirit attached to it.
it does. Yeah, it doesn't have religious spirit. No,
That's what I
it is.
mean.
It all about the heart of Jesus.
Yeah.
But here's my frustration with Faith at Work ministries in general is we all are Christian business leaders. We go hang out. We get built up, and then we go back, and nothing changes in our business. Okay, I'm no different in my business. My business is no different because I am a Christian. So what happens is I'm feeling this calling, but I don't know exactly what it's supposed to be. And I'm on a plane with Corey, mentor, our buddy.
Yeah.
And he's going to Atlanta to visit with some Russian business people at the time. And I don't know why I was going to Dallas. I was stopping in Dallas, but we're on the flight together. It really was. I don't remember what he was doing, but so anyway, we were talking about this, and he said, "Well, what are you going to do with this?" I'm like, "Man, I don't know." And so we take off, and I just close my eyes, and I'm like, "Lord, I need you to give me some specifics. I need you to tell me, what do you want me to do? Please tell me what to do. I will do it if you'll just tell me what to do." And when I closed my eyes, I saw two numbers, one over the other one. And it was like a black chalkboard, and the numbers were 160 over 1.7. And I knew what they were. And the 160 was how many hours our employees work for us in a month. The 1.7 was how many hours Americans go to church on average in a month. And the difference between the two, if you do the math, is 94 point something, and 94.11. And so the 94X means that as Christian business leaders, we have our employees in our care 94.11, but 94.11X just didn't sound right. So 94.11 times more than even those that go into a church. And so what the Lord showed me in that moment was the reason that I've given you this responsibility at the bank or in your companies or in the state or whatever, so you would bring me in. So that's where 94X comes from. That's really where it was born. quickly, the rest of the story is I thought it would just kind of be a book. So my friend Mick and I had written abundance mentality together. And so I thought, well, what we'll do is we'll put together kind of a little parable about how you can bring your faith into your business, and then we'll advertise it and get it out. And the Lord wanted to do a lot more with it. And that's how kind of the 94X movement came to be.
Well, so many people think that talking about God or the Bible or any type of Christian thing at work is it's like bad or wrong, or you're going to get fired for it. And that all comes from a bunch of kind of legalistic thinking around, forcing people to do things, maybe some old style witnessing strategies from back in the day. But that's not what this is. This is an opportunity for not only Christians that are presently Christ followers to be able to have some level of comfort at their job and expressing their beliefs or just something around a hope in something, after they die. But it's also a soft place to land for the unbeliever, to where it's not forced. It's, hey, come as you are. You don't have to do this, but it's an opportunity. And what I think is cool, Sean, is no matter what people say, because they've been saying this for decades, Kellen, everybody, 99% of people call that Christian they know when someone's sick or when life has took a turn. So as bad of a rap as the faith of Christianity gets in the workplace, most of those same people are calling one to pray for them, to deliver some kind of hope to them. And isn't that interesting? I mean, what do you guys think about that? Have you ever thought how weird that is? The very same people, which sounds like a Pharisee, by the way, but the very same people willing to make rules and almost push out truth or anything that's going to bring freedom are the same people that change outfits when it gets hard, and they want that.
Yeah, I think, there's some things to it that the old school part of the church has something to do with it, but to me it ties down to their beliefs but their wounds. And then when somebody else is critical, and if, Bryan, what you're saying, and Sean, a big part of what you're doing is showing professionals how to walk out genuine belief in God and be consistent. Because that person that has peace in a storm, that person that's willing to pray for somebody when something gets hard, they're going to go to the safe person that's been consistent in their faith to God, because something big enough just happened to shake their wound and their selfishness free. Mm-hmm. And now they've got to go do something. So you're consistently being that safe person, right?
That's right.
Well, and I think about this, Kellen, we talk about in the marketplace, and when we're trying to meet with guys and talk a little deeper under the surface of what they're going through, I think, and I could be wrong, and regularly I am, but while all of us are called to love people, bring them to the knowledge of what Jesus did for us, we all have a little bit different personalities about that, right? There is a lot of people that just aren't going to be bold about it. They just are going to love people. They're going to hand out hugs when necessary, but they're just not really on fire to tell other people about it. I struggle with that a little bit, but I guess the Bible doesn't say that there's no place in heaven for them. I mean, it's just a different approach. It is one conversation, but where I'm going with that is you and I specifically feel more of a boldness around that. Since June of 2022, definitely felt this like lever turn in me to where it's definitely not enough to like know a Bible verse, which I don't know many, or to share one, or maybe offer a seat at church to somebody. There's nothing wrong with any of that, but I felt this like I can't let someone get out of the room without more. Even if I'm in the midst of a low time or something I'm struggling with, I still feel this urge to share something with them or to kick off a conversation. And it's more of a bold style. Like I just feel like I'm supposed to do it. Sean, you're not an aggressive personality, but you are definitely a doer. You are definitely driven and competitive and very much that same kind of personality. I believe that you've had that same thing happen in you in the last 10 years to where you don't want to waste conversations on just the business, right? I mean,
yeah, that's right.
It's passing. it means nothing and it's going nowhere. And of course, there's talent there. Of course, you have a great personality and you have a great mind and all the things. You're the full package in a lot of ways. But we're wasting time if that's all we're getting done. Every conversation in some way has got to point to him, what he's doing, what he's about to do. Tell us about that, because that's what faith in business is. That is exactly what 94X is. It's your ability to not miss one opportunity if you can in being able to bring some attention to what he's done.
You know, one of the greatest compliments, and Bryan, you probably don't even remember this, but I remember one day you said, might have been listening to your podcast, and it's is called Kingdom Driven CEO, and you said your content, I don't know if you remember, you said your content has really shifted from like leadership, business stuff to more spiritual. And that's what I want. That was not anything that was overt or intentional. That was just the Lord, I think, was starting to work within me. And I've seen him, I'm a newer friend with that, but I've seen him work in you guys' lives in this way. It's wonderful. So in the workplace, there's a couple of things that I think we need to remember. One is this whole separation of church and state, or this whole keeping religion out of the schools and blah, blah, blah. So, you can argue whether that's even legitimate. I'm not even so sure that if you go back and look, at the founding documents, that that's even legitimate. But let's even say it is. Faith in the workplace is totally different, because everybody in the workplace are adults. They can make decisions for themselves. The only rule about faith in the workplace is you cannot, if you're in a position of influence, you cannot force somebody to worship the way you worship. You cannot hold them up in a room, make them pray, make them sing, make them, lay hands or do whatever that. You can't do any of that. But you can offer it all day long.
Right.
And I think if people will understand that, and if you will offer your faith in a way that is really just looks like love, if it just looks like deep love, I want to give you guys two very quick examples, but very powerful ones. About 3 or 4 months ago, I am in a new employee orientation. And we have I'm going to say we had about 20 people in the room. It was quarterly, and that's how many new people we had hired. And they're going around, and I asked them to tell their story. So the people they're going around and telling their story. And this lady says, and she said it publicly. She's okay with me sharing it. She said, I just got to tell you, she said, I have been working for 34 years, and this is the first time that I have ever felt loved at work. Okay? And I thought, man, now we're getting somewhere. And the lady next to her said, well, I will one-up you. I am 57 years old, and this place is the first time I've ever felt loved, period, in my life.
Wow.
Okay? That's one story. So keep that one in mind. Now, let me tell you a very recent one, and I'm gonna have to make this pretty general so we can hone in on this particular person. But let's say this: we have a middle manager within our organization that would have a lifestyle that is different than mine. Okay, and in addition to this kind of different lifestyle, this person had a bad experience with the church and was now a pretty overt atheist. Okay. And that's okay. One of the things that I talk about a lot within our organization is, listen, you should be able to work here and have any belief that you want and still be comfortable working here. What I'm not trying to do is make anybody feel weird because we're a Christian organization and you're not a Christian. We're going to offer our faith, but if you don't want to partake, you ought to be perfectly happy working here and not feel weird about it. Well, this person, we had the opportunity to really help one of her coworkers. Okay, and so she saw, to your earlier point, true love in action. Okay, true generosity in action. Nobody asked us to do it. We just, a lot of us saw a need and got together and helped this individual. And she last week came to an executive officer within our company and said, okay, you got to tell me about this Jesus deal, because I've never seen love like this. That's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. The difference is we just attribute this love to Jesus Christ, because that is where it comes from. We all know that is the root of true love, is from Jesus, because he gave his life for us. That's the man. That's what I love. That's why I get fired up about it. And that's why if you're out there today and you're a leader, it can be in a nonprofit, for-profit, whatever. I just want to tell you that there is a level of impact that you can have within your organization, or frankly, even in your family, but we're just focused on within your organization, that you have no idea that you can have. You just don't realize it. And when you do, it's such a game changer. It's just magical. So that's why we're passionate about 94X. Is we're going. It's not about selling some books or packing out a room for a summit. It's not about any of that. It's about going, guys, let us show you the light. Let us help you get there.
Yes.
Because when you get there, it's the rush that you get at Band of Brothers. It's the rush we get at Journey. It's because you're really making a difference. You're not just beating budget again, and let's get to another billion in assets. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm like, you guys, who cares about that stuff? Nobody cares about that stuff.
Well, and you can speak to that a little bit, Sean. I want to offer the listeners a little bit of resource too, so I'm going to ask you a question in a minute, but I want to get, like you just said, another billion in assets. So many people start a business, or maybe in their bank business, or whatever it is, have certain goals, and I think you all reached a goal in the last couple of years as a bank organization that had been on the chalkboard for a while, and nothing really changed, probably.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's awesome, but
but it wasn't even really that awesome. So let me just tell you guys this story so that you don't make the mistake I made. Okay, when we started the bank, we practiced, quote unquote, Christian principles. Okay, I put in the offering document, we're going to run the bank according to Christian principles, which really just meant we're not going to lie, we're not going to steal, we're not going to murder anybody, we're not going to hook up with coworkers, we're going to follow the 10 commandments at work.
Yeah,
those are good ones, but it's not the level that
didn't have anything to do with love yet.
It didn't have anything to do with love or, frankly, bringing Jesus into our business. It was just, we're going to operate a high integrity business. Well, what I used back then to motivate everybody was I said, okay, every time we grow by 100 million in assets, which in banking, that's your loans and deposits and stuff. And the bigger you get, obviously, the more profitable you get and all this stuff. So every time we grow by 100 million in assets, I'm going to pay everybody that number. So when we get to 100 million, everybody gets $100. When we get to 200 million, everybody gets $200. But when we get to $1 billion, everybody, it's going to be big time. We're going on a cruise. We're going to do blah, blah. I had all this, big plans. So, we push to get to $1 billion. We thought that it would take us about 10 years. It took us about 5. And we get there to that number. And I will never forget, I am in my office, and I go in, and I log into the system, and I pull it up, and it says $1,001,437. Okay? And I thought, nothing's different now than it was yesterday. Nothing. There was no balloons fell from the ceiling, no confetti, there were no marching bands. There was really nothing. And frankly, now everybody loved the prize that they got, and it was COVID-ish era. So I think we had to convert the cruise into just a gift certificate to go on a cruise someday, if you ever can go on a cruise type of deal. And that was fine. That lasted for 2 weeks or whatever. But it just was such a letdown.
Right.
And I thought, man, if I'm going to build my whole career around reaching another billion, okay, well, let's go to 10 billion. Well, let's go to 50.
It'll never end.
It will never end, and it will never be fulfilling.
I'm working with I've created a friendship with kind of one of your colleagues, would be a competitor / just colleague. It wouldn't be like a dirty aggression competition. And, they're have a big goal to that one. And I kind of hope him and I get to dig into this a little bit, because I know he's very focused, and I'm happy for him, and I'm supporting it, and I want it to happen. But I'm afraid that he doesn't understand that that goal is really assigned from his dad or from his family, in that it would be cool, but I think that he's going to wonder where the balloons are too.
Yep.
It's going to be the same day, your email is going to be full, and someone's going to call in that's going to make the whole day hard, and that's going to be it.
That's right.
And so I'm praying over that. It's funny that you brought up that story, because that was running through my mind, and I had never thought about going that direction. But, that's a prayer request that I have internally for this guy right now, who I think is awesome and is so interested in what's going on spiritually. But I wanted to ask you, so for resource for the listeners is, I felt really, really kind of prompted in June of 2022 to do this podcast, and I didn't start it. I was scared, anxious, didn't know what to say, didn't want to be called a hypocrite for talking about things that I had either done or, I'm not perfect. And so it always sucks to hear someone start talking about a way to do something that they just completely burnt, 65 days ago. And so I never did. And through a course of a couple of our conversations, Sean, which this has happened in multiple areas of my life, but you encouraged me a couple of times from July of 2022 all the way on for probably 12 to 15 months through different questions and conversations about your own podcasts and things going on with me, to just do it and just start, and so we finally did. A lot of it and due to conversations we had to where I thought, man, why can't I do it? We are going to broach subjects that I'm going to go, I've done this one, so we can talk about it. And you know what? I have not gotten nearly the backlash I thought I would get from people. So for people that are listening that are afraid to speak up or talk, there's a risk. There's a risk. There is a lot of people out there that want you to fall on your face. There's a lot of people out there that kind of want to talk about what you've done or what they think you did. But I want to encourage you in that it's very, very few people. It's way less than you think it's going to be. And really what I found is there's more people that didn't really care that much about what I did. They cared about how can they change. Yeah. What was it that I got a hold of that remains imperfect in me, but still progression? And so I want to encourage people. But Sean, I want to connect that with, over the course of your career, you've had a lot of opportunities to kind of shy away from doing something or pressing forward with a ministry calling that you've had, whether it be the breakfasts or the lunches or anything that you tie to your marketplace ministry, because of maybe mistakes you've made or rumors or people that got mad at you and had bad things to say. That happens to you too. Yeah. For fun, I've had at least 2 or 3 people in the last 10 years of our close friendship go, "You're friends with him? I heard blah, blah, blah." And I'm like,
if you're
I don't know.
Sean,
it doesn't
yeah,
sound.
You got an internal problem.
Sometimes it's like, nah, he didn't do that. This guy won't even smoke a cigar until today. He said you would.
Just need a process change.
They were things that were so outlandish, but then once or twice it was like, yeah, he might have done that.
Hey, Thad, stick on that. We're coming back to that.
Because
it's important for this.
He's just a guy.
Right.
He might have done that. He can't make everyone happy. And in fact, most of the time in a leadership position, when you make someone happy, you've made someone mad. Tell us a little bit about how you just pressed through, because I think at the beginning, you weren't always that bold. I mean, you had to at least have some amount of average, normal man stuff like the rest of us, where you're like, I think I'm just going to go with the flow on this one. But you've become more bold in your ability to go, no, we can't go that way for whatever reason. Yeah. Tell us about that. Men are craving they're craving, Kellen, to be led and to be shown.
To be shown.
And to be told, hey, it's okay that you did that thing. How do we move past it? And how do we stand up against it next time?
Yeah, that thing is not you. It's just it's a moment in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy one to answer. So first and foremost, and my buddies here know this, but when you step out, okay, you can just plan on the attacks. Okay, that's just a given. And it may not even be from somebody else. It may just be the enemy attacking you and bringing up everything you've ever done. I've done a lot of stuff I regret. Man, a lot of stuff I regret. And so he's going to bring all that up. And, you didn't go to seminary. You don't know. You can't lead a devotional. You don't know anything about the Bible. And let's go back into your college days and let's revisit all the stuff you did then and since. And so you just have to push through that. That's just a fact. If you're going to allow either self-guilt or what others say about you to define your life, you're not going to have an impact.
Right.
That's number one. My personal story is I really was healed of this. So Bryan and Kellen and I have all been to Brazil. Kellen a lot more than any of us, and we have seen miraculous healings.
Yeah.
Okay, crazy ones. Well, I experienced one. So I was my whole life I lived in extreme fear, and a lot of the things that I have done, particularly from a business perspective, that I regret, competed too hard, competed dirty, did things that I wish I hadn't have done, was because I was in fear. I was so scared that I was going to be a failure, that I'm out of character. I'm doing stuff that I wish I hadn't have done. Well, that's how I lived up till age 34. At the age of 34, those of you that know me know this story, but the bank had a miracle. We had bought the bank in 2008. By February of 2009, we should have gone under. We got a miraculous capital injection from the U.S. Treasury Department that to this day, nobody can explain to me. But that was only after the Lord told me very clearly that he was going to be my healer. So it was a miracle. Well, in the moment that I got that phone call, two things happened. The first thing that happened was all the fear that I had felt my whole life went away. It literally was the equivalent of a miraculous healing. I've not felt it. That's been almost 18 years ago, and I literally have not felt that since that time. The other thing that happened, and these two both tie together to answer your question, the other thing that happened is I got on my knees in my office and said, Lord, this is your company. This is your company. It wouldn't have survived without you. I didn't know what to do. We were going down the tubes. Please just tell me what to do, and I will do it. And so all of these efforts, okay, whether it's the Faith in Business or the Daily Devotional or 94X or the prayer team or all of the stuff that the Lord has that we have done, it's because the Lord has told me to do those things. And I committed to him on that day in Nowata, Oklahoma, in that little office, that I would do that. So, and because he took away this fear gene that I used to have, and I mean severely. And guys, let me say this. You're out there thinking that you're $50,000 away from fear going away. $50,000 in the bank will make fear go away, or the next promotion will make fear go away, or if I just own it, it will make fear go away. It does not. It only Jesus Christ can make the fear go away. Okay? There's only abiding with him and connecting to the vine is the only thing that will make go away. The higher I went, the more scared I became. I mean, it was like the further I had to fall, the more I was certain people were going to realize that I wasn't as smart as they thought I was. And it's all going to unravel and fall apart. from that day forward, I've never felt it. And so I just have made the commitment that when he calls me to do something, I'm going to do it. And furthermore, here's the beautiful thing about this. I could care less what anybody says. I can truly say this in front of everybody on air. It makes me no difference. I could care less what my competition's doing. It makes me no difference. In our industry, it's very incestuous. Everybody talks about everybody. You know, oh, yeah, they grow fast. Well, they must be doing a bunch of seedy, illegal stuff. I could care less. That has no interest to me. When people want to get into all that stuff, it's repelling. I step away. I'm focused on my team, my life, my relationship with Jesus, loving my people, our culture, trying to execute better, me. I'm focused on me. And when you can get to that point to where you really don't care what anybody else thinks, it's extremely freeing. Extremely.
To that point, you have deep roots that hold you in the ground.
When I think,
and anchors you on the truth.
And the beautiful part, until you step out, you know, when you talked about 2008 and then 2009, one of the notes Bryan and I had was, we fall prey. You can fall into culture, you can fall into Christ, right?
Mm-hmm.
We fall prey into seeing the resume and the 1 point whatever billion dollars, and we don't see the crisis that you cried out to God because it was about to go bankrupt. And we don't see God talking to do a prayer thing. And what I think is so beautiful, part of what 94X does, and Bryan, you hit the nail on the head, and I'm going to weirdly tie cigars into this,
Okay.
is there's so many of you sitting there that you know you've had a prompting to say something, but nobody's ever cared enough about you in their walk to show you how.
Mm.
And so just like Sean going, I don't smoke cigars because nobody else cough, and I'm over here coughing my head off, and with a bunch of guys, I feel like that makes you weak. Like, that's just an internal guy thing. It's just, it's built into guy. Like, no, the process is wrong because nobody ever showed you how to do this.
Right.
And that's what God's doing in 94.
Hey, everybody, you don't have to inhale when you smoke a cigar. Everybody out there, just need you to, need you to know that. I didn't know that. So, okay, back to you, Kellen.
Hey, and if you love the Lord and you step out, he'll give you things that you have to trust him in and build it up till it's like a 94X, because it's going to work out, not because of you, because of him.
I mean, sometimes you just have to take one, do one step, because that's all he's shown you is one step. And
yeah, but you'll get to the point there'll be people around, and that's what. And then for the summit coming up, but for what Sean's doing with 94X, it's more than this. But for anybody listening, if you're in a leadership role, it'll equip you, but it'll also bring you into a community that'll show you how to stink and step out the right way. That has already figured all the things out and done the things, so that you don't have to feel like and walk into something going, I don't even have a process, pretty sure I'm going to fail. And I guarantee you, when the Lord prompts, you'll know, by the way, I hope people get freedom from remember you did this, you did this, you did this. That's a sign that you're about to do something important.
That's exactly
the enemy
right.
wants to really keep you away from all that. And so it's helping people with that process. Now I want to talk, because you brought it up, so it's the same topic.
Okay.
And I tell people this all the time, because Bryan and I talked about legs growing out. We had a young boy, I wish you would have seen it. We're talking about healing. So Rubens is on stage in front of about 25, 30,000 people, and he talks about Jesus being the healer. And if you have need, and step out in faith. And right in front of Bryan, a 5-ish-year-old boy that was short for 5, his mom's only like 4 foot tall, takes a brace that encompasses him and all of his legs from a thing he's had since he was a baby or born, and starts walking.
Mm.
But one of my favorite moments, and I tell everybody this, they talk about physical healings. I'm like, you don't understand how God changed my heart and took my anger away. You don't understand how he took Sean's fear away. That's more powerful.
Amen.
But we were in Brazil, and we're like, we're not going to go anywhere unsafe, right? We end up getting to go over to a place that's run by the cartel, because a pastor shows up and there's no more crime. People aren't getting stabbed over cell phones. There was some stuff happening. And Sean and I are divided on 2 buses, and we go minister, and we come back on the bus. And so Sean has a different skin color than Corey Mentor that he was on the plane with, because Corey's a redhead. Sean's complexion is like pale white, and he's like this. And I'll let you share it. You got to witness what when you prayed over somebody's knees?
Oh my gosh. And my daughter was with me. Okay, so the best part of all this is what I'm going to tell you all. It wasn't just me. It was my daughter, an interpreter. Rubens was there. So we went into the favela, isn't that what they call them? The kind of the slums, if you will, the poorest housing edition. And we're just going randomly door to door, and we're bringing them food and ask if we can pray for them. And this lady comes to the door and says, "Oh my goodness," this is all via the interpreter, by the way. "Oh my goodness, you guys are here to heal my mother." And I'm like, what in the world? I mean, I can't even pray with somebody, much less heal somebody. And, "Oh, no, come in. We've been expecting you." I'm like, what? And so we go in, and there's this little lady sitting in the back corner in a chair, in a wheelchair. And I'm going to give a very brief version of this. Her legs were rock hard. She looked like she was probably 90 years old. You're going to, my mother hasn't walked in 20 years. You're going to heal her today. God told me you're going to heal her today. And I'm thinking, this is about to be the biggest disappointment for my daughter in the history of our lives together. So we start to pray for healing for this lady, and thank goodness Rubens, the evangelist, comes to the door and is just checking on us, and I beg him to come over and pray with us. And so we're all praying for this lady. And as Emery and I are kind of touching her legs and praying, these rock hard legs, like this tabletop, literally turn into like a soup. Like I could feel it to this day. Like we feel it under our hands, and everything starts to like move around and soften. And Emery and I look, she's 14 years old at the time. We look at each other and go, what in the world is going on? Lady falls out onto the ground. Rubens continues to pray. Felt like she was demon possessed. That she wakes up. All of a sudden, she doesn't look 92. She looks like 55. Okay? And then he says, "Get up in the name of Jesus, you will walk." And this lady starts shuffling around and then walking a little better and then walking a little better. She followed us around all day. She was with us all day. So, guys, it is real. I was raised Southern Baptist, okay? Let's just call a spade a spade. You know, this kind of stuff wasn't happening in the First Baptist Church of Beggs, and the Holy Ghost was a scary thing. And, you know, I mean, it was like, so I'm not coming at this from a, charismatic background. I am coming at this from a huge skeptic, and we saw it multiple times, but that one was definitely the craziest.
And at the same time, so Sean and I are kind of rejoicing, but I was with Paul Timms, and I messed everything up, by the way. So just like your internal thoughts, we're on a plane before we get there, and everybody tells us, the okay sign in Brazil, that's like the middle finger. And then I start making a joke on the plane in front of everybody older than me, is like, how old are you? The only time I've ever seen anybody do this is when you do that and hit them.
Yeah.
Right? In the middle of me sharing the gospel, 100 yards away from Sean, underneath this little pergola, I'm doing this. It's on video to everybody. And then we'd seen just healing, just different stuff with Rubens preaching the days before. Mm-hmm. And these people were in oppression, and I didn't know what that meant. And so these old ladies get saved, and but I'm just feeling everybody's just so mad. And M's there with me, our interpreter. So at the same time he's praying for that lady, there's a guy that comes up, and his eye has been, the surgeons, they barely have any money, went to a cheap surgeon, he nicked his eyeball. And so he has these weird big black glasses, and he has to wear them because his cornea, any light's torture to him. His occupation, and we got it, Rubens did a great job of going back, he had to deliver water door to door because we're in the favelas. All the water was unclean. So he sold water and complained about his eye all the time. Mm. God healed his eye. Mm. The cartel leader came to Christ. And then I tried to cast a demon out of somebody by just yelling at him, like Rubens told me to stay away from the corners, and I didn't listen. And that didn't work. Me and Chad Coomer just failed, like so long. And so we got to reconnect, and God had worked, and it's God, not us, in the name of Jesus, in crazy things. And I was raised Lutheran. So it's the same thing as God's just showing you through simply stepping out in faith in the name of Jesus what he's going to do. Yeah. And he's leading and guiding. You just got to step out.
Amen.
Well, we got to wrap it. We could tell stories all day, and I've got like 4 or 5 in my head, but we can't go that long. I wanted to make sure everyone knows that the summit that 94X is putting on is October 28th, I think, right?
Next Tuesday.
Right around the corner.
Yep.
We'll have information in the notes for that for any last minute ticket shoppers. If there's any tickets left, there might be a couple of seats left people could get in on. If you have a business or you want access to the 94X Summit, please send us a DM or a message. I'm sure we can figure out getting you and your business or people from your business into the program. I think it would be amazing, especially if you're new to the faith or if you're new to the idea that you can have faith in your business. You need to come. We want you to be able to get taught how to do this, to your cigar analogy.
To the cigar analogy, use Sean as an example. If you don't know how to do something, come find out. And I'll also say, I went last year, and a lot of the stuff, if we talk, like I'll just say it, if I listen to Christian radio and the poor hosts sound like they're riding a cloud and they change their voice, this is not that. And it's also not down your throat process business. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the speakers that you bring in, because of the culture that's set there about what this is about, it's authentic. They have a lot of fun talking. And so you're not only going to be blessed and equipped and see how to do this and put into the community to step out because you are a leader, but you'll have an incredible day with a crazy impact.
You will. You'll meet some great people. I appreciated the guys talking about the community because it is a wonderful community of leaders kind of all doing this together. So we'd love to have you come out. And these guys can, if you want to come and you'll message them, we'll get you a code that even if it's not in your budget and you're feeling like it's a little tight right now, come on anyway, and we got you covered. So we'll make sure and get you paid for. You bet.
Thank you for that, Sean. And I mean, there's other opportunities for you business people out there, kind of in the marketplace, to connect. Another opportunity that Sean's organization puts on that we're affiliated with as well is a Faith in Business initiative. It's a once a month breakfast. For people that like to do things early in the day, which don't include me.
That doesn't include you. I think I work out plus start my day before Bryan gets up.
Lord, I'm usually asleep
Unless
when
he's
they're
running
doing
kids
that faith in
84
business
places.
thing, but that's why I sponsor it.
I've run
I'll be a
5 or 6
sponsor.
miles.
I've never seen him
and
there.
I've made 50 calls before Bryan wakes
But if
up.
you sponsor things, they assume you're there, just maybe in the bathroom.
That
They
is
didn't
true.
see you.
That is
Hey, and I will say too, if you need community and you also need just a habit that's really healthy, and there's not enough time to talk about it, but in the notes we're going to put a number. And every morning, Sean or somebody from his team, he was obedient years ago on this, they do a devotional in the morning. And so that number will be on there too. Call into the devotional and just be a part of a healthier community.
Yeah, we'll put that there. We're going to put info on 94X Summit. We'll put some info on the devotional call, and we'll also link in your podcast as well, Sean. I think there's a lot of nuggets there for the business owner and for the leader, influencer to be able to get on Kingdom Driven CEO, which I feel like you changed the name of it, didn't you? Because I just called it the wrong thing.
94X Kingdom Driven CEO.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Just kidding. It's on there. You'll find it. We'll link that in there too. A lot of just resourceful nuggets to get from Sean's podcast, where he's going to walk through a subject matter and actually explain to you what you need to do with that information.
If you give him any more information, you're going to sound like the guy that talks and gives the church 37 things to remember before the pastor.
In the announcement section.
It's going to be all in the show notes.
I'll
Yes.
be the announcement
We were about to
section.
play the announcement.
I'm like, that poor guy has to remember 64 things.
Everybody, turn your attentions to the screen.
Everyone turn your attention to the screen for that.
Yeah, turn your attention to the
PowerPoint.
screen for our announcements. We're going to lower the lights, and everyone's going to have huge screens because this is a concert. No, we can't.
really
We
feel.
don't. We're not going to go hard on the pastors this week. I did that last week.
You did
I
last
got more.
7 to 8
I got
times.
more for them too, dude. I got
The
hammered
last
this week.
month or
Hammered.
we've talked about.
I said the other day, which was loosely said.
We had a whole different topic.
Loosely.
We had a whole different topic
Bryan's
for
never
the podcast,
loosely
and
said
somebody brought up a
anything.
church, and he just wah.
It was some 1,000 and something messages I got on this nonsense. So apparently 70% of the church that allegedly feels attacked had something to say. All I said is if you have time to make music videos, but you don't have time to be in the church praying for people that are in your church that are sick, then you're not really a pastor. I guess that, Lord.
Yikes.
That was
I guess
that
they-
was your get canceled moment. That was
My
your get
thing.
canceled.
Brian Smith's views are of Brian Smith only, ladies and gentlemen.
Like,
from
please
Brian.
don't associate this with Sean Kouplen's interview.
Well, I didn't see the big deal about just a fact, but people hate facts these days. But I want to remind everybody, we really appreciate you sharing the podcast, reviewing it, any platform you listen to. iTunes, Spotify, or Tiffany's favorite iHeartRadio. You just go to the bottom and you can give us 5 stars would be appreciated, and a review right there on the platform as well. When you share it on social media, we love it. We really appreciate you guys doing that.
Also, Bryan owns Call Bryan Smith, so if you need to know where he gets his jeans, just look that up.
We'll
DM
tell
him.
you.
Women's jeans.
I do want to remind people
They
before we
said that
go.
yesterday. I think that's why he wore camo today.
Thanksgiving and Christmas are coming up, and I committed to a friend that I would let everyone know you do need to get your honey-basted hams from the Hamlet.
Bam.
I want it. There
The
you go,
best. They're the
Crystal.
best. They're the
Honey-basted
They
hams
are,
from the Hamlet.
They're
best.
amazing.
They are the
They
best. That's a
they
fact.
I don't want to know what they soak them
unbelievable.
in, but they're amazing.
They're
Great.
so good.
Great local business that we appreciate, and I happen to love the family as well. So, hey, Kellen, we're going to end her right here. Do you want to pray us out real quick?
Yeah. Man, Father, we just we're so thankful for you, Lord, as we talk about the things that you're doing, the things of your kingdom, and the freedom associated with it, and we look back. Every man in here and Tiffany have been affected in their own way with an internal miracle. And we know that, Lord, that you want to do that for all those that are lost, that are hopeless, if they feel like they're isolated and nobody knows where they're at, you do. And so I just pray, Lord, that anybody right now that's feeling that would call out to you and ask if you're real and if you're there. Father, I also want to pray for anybody listening that feels a prompting that there's more for them. That people matter more than resource, Lord, that they would, they call out to you and they take the step in the prompting and just trust with all the things coming against them mentally or even spiritually, that you have a better plan and that you'll be in it with them. And Lord, or take a step and actually get involved in the 94 Summit or reach out to us with, there's so many good things. Like once you step into it, there are so many people making an impact that's just waiting on them. And so that they would be not only led by you, Father, but that you would bring them into a community like we talked about, where there's men and women they can trust. They can be vulnerable, they can be authentic, and then there's growth. And they can take the next step and the next step, and life will never look the same for them. It'll be full. So I just pray for those people that are in that prompting, they take a step. All those, Father, that feel like they're not seen, they're isolated or alone, that they'd call out. And I just pray over Sean, too, with everything he's doing. I revoke all rights of the enemy and all plans that he has against him in the name of Jesus for how he's operating. I plead the blood of Jesus over Sean's vehicle as he travels and over his home, that you station angels for any of those attacks, and they take those head on. And, Father, continue to bring wisdom to him as he spends time with you, as he cries out to you with the things you have him leading and also being the visionary for. I know at times it feels taxing, Father, that he would come to you just like Job did and find complete truth and rest in the hardest of times, and continue to be reminded of that in all this, he is a son to you. He's a leader to others. He's a visionary to others. And Father, and bless this movement that they have going on this next week, and bring the people around him, Lord, that you know he needs. And I pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean, for your time today. We
Thank
really appreciate it. I know
you.
you're busy.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Also, I've been corrected. Honey kissed hams from the Hamlet.
So you did it wrong?
Can you believe it?
I mean,
did it wrong.
Hey,
For all that
That
build
means
up.
somebody's watching the live.
So at least somebody's watching it. Honey kissed hams from the Hamlet. And don't forget to
Get canceled.
canceled.
Today.